Hello and welcome everyone to another episode. Yes, so I have a nice little package for the Kerbal Space Station. This is one of the major things that I really wanted to add to the Kerbal Space Station. I don't know how possible it's going to be to add this, and I really don't know how well it's going to take to having something like this added to it, but this is one of the things that one of the major things I should say that the Kerbal Space Station needs is an RCS storage tank on it, a big one, and it does not have it. I never added it initially in my design. Well, at least when I launched, I should say. I never added it there, only because I never saw that we needed it, at least for now. I mean, I was like, okay, well, we got pretty much everything, and every one of the new modules I brought, also brought some new stuff to the table as far as, like, resources on the station. Because the station itself had, it's like when you launch up something, you got fuel and whatever RCS you have, so you can kind of get away with refueling certain things and, pumping some fuel into the station or whatever you need. So it always kind of works out in your favor, but the major thing right now is the fact that we're short on RCS fuel, we're short on regular fuel. There is a little bit of fuel storage on there from the pods that I launched, which I'm sorry for that episode once again, because I know some of you guys are really following the Kerbal Space Station and on its construction and, how everything is going with it, and, the video itself was good, but the commentary was absolutely abysmal since you pretty much couldn't hear anything. So, sorry about that, once again. Alright, looks like we ran out of fuel here. Okay, no we didn't. Thought we did. But this should be a fairly routine mission to the Kerbal Space Station. It really isn't going to cause much problems. And if it looks, I tried to make a makeshift fairing here. I mean, you can tell, like, I really tried, but I think it looks kind of awesome with the struts and everything. I'm going to go ahead and disable these as well right now, just to make things easier for later, so we don't end up using up a bunch of RCS and doing a bunch of transfers and, yeah, just a whole bunch of stuff. So, yeah, as time went on, I really didn't think I was going to add this on. I just didn't really see the purpose of adding it on so early into the missions, since we really didn't have that much of a purpose for it earlier. And, even now, adding it is a little bit silly, since we really aren't probably going to be revisiting the Kerbal Space Station very much. But one thing I did do is change my physics in the game, not the actual, like, change the coding or anything like that. What you can do is on your main option screen, you can change the physics calculations per second, I believe it is. And what that will do is it will kind of sacrifice some of the calculations, I believe. When I read, basically, it said it sacrifices doing so many calculations per second in order to improve frame rate. So I'm hoping that this kind of is a little bit of a quick fix for it for now. I don't know what we're going to be doing later, but I really hope that, everything kind of comes together. Bring this down here. There we go. So turn off this time warp because we are getting really close and we're not even in orbit yet. So turn on that RCS. I just gotta check this craft to make sure we got everything. I always am prone to forgetting things, so I think we're pretty good. So let's continue our burn here. We're probably gonna completely bleed through this tank, which I'm really hoping we do, because I don't really want to bring this thing all the way around in orbit, and yeah, it's just a pain to bring these tanks with you. It always ends up, at least for me, it ends up slowing down the ship as far as the turning and everything else, and it just makes everything a big pain in the butt. So, let's see, 4.4, can I get any better than that? 3.8, that's our best, our very, very best. But I'm probably going to get rid of this tank here in a second anyways, because once I do the burn, we are basically going to be doing a lot. Okay, wait, yeah, I'm just making sure that everything's right. I thought I had a docking port on this, but I don't. I thought it was connected via docking port, not a decoupler. So let's bring this down. It's cool because even if we miss on this first one here, we got the second one to make up for. So that's always good. I like having contingencies. Let's see. All right, we are super freaking close. I think we're gonna have to. Yeah, you can see this huge tank. Come on. Oh, there's min-miss. Come on, huge tank. Spin around quickly. Quickly. Any day now. Just bleed off all of this freaking speed. Yeah, that was awesome. Luckily, I still have this tank. That did save a lot of time. But we also kind of bled off a lot more speed than we needed to. But I think I could get rid of this tank for now. Let's see. And then do a burn directly at the station. I just got to make sure that this thing isn't going to smash into the station in any kind of way. Which I think by the time that this thing reaches it, I don't think it could ever really smash into the station in any kind of way. I really wish I could put this thing on a different trajectory or something like that, but I think we could get rid of this right now. Let's see. Yeah, let's just let me check the staging once again. Make sure everything's good. There we go. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of a burn down, and that's just to push us away from the tank and get the tank away from us as well. There we go. And we're gonna flip around and then just do a burn right at the station, and you'll know when we get to the station because of all that beautiful lag that's about to come. So thank God we were able to just decouple all this junk and get rid of it right now, because it would have been a pain to do it next to the station. And I'm going to spin around right now because we're going to start really flying towards this thing. And I'm glad that we got a lot. We pretty much didn't even have to use this entire tank. So that, I mean, we got plenty of fuel to refuel everything on the station itself. So that's good. That's amazing, actually. So turn off the RCS and we'll wait a second. And you can see it is loading in. The beautiful space station is loading in. And my frame rate instantly dropped to 10. So it will keep dropping as we get closer. I'm just going to quick save right now, just in case if some bad things happen, because it's been prone to happen. And we'll slow down, or at least start to get this down to, 10 or 12 meters a second. And call it a day. There we go. Very good. Now this station has been moving around a little bit, which is weird. Not like a lot, but it has been kind of jumping around a little bit, which I don't like. It not from the SAS units or anything like that. It's just been, basically just shifting, and it hasn't been keeping the same exact orbit. So I'm going to put this on chase right now. Chase cam. There we go. Chase. Yeah, it hasn't been staying directly pointed at the sun, but, sometimes it makes a fool of me, sometimes it doesn't. Whatever. Everything in this game makes a fool of me at some point or another. So you can tell right now, I think it is lined up with the sun, but I'm not 100% certain. And we did just overshoot where I wanted to take this thing. So I'm going to do a burn. Come on, come on, come on, come on. There we go. Do a little bit more. We don't need to go out too far. I don't want to bump into the station here. Just making sure everything's clear. And these tanks are in the game too. That sucks. Because the tanks are gonna, even though it's like the weirdest thing, and I hate to keep saying stuff like this all the time, but it's just like the smallest things in this game make such a big effect as far as, like these tanks, they're floating out there somewhere. They're close enough to where they're loaded in. So it's just another little part that is being loaded in the game. So I don't think it's close enough to where the physics are being loaded in, but at the same time, it's just another part. That's all I see. It's just another thing floating around out there right next to the station. So we'll just bleed off the rest of the speed. I can tell that the game is slowed down a little bit, and I mean it is helping, but at the same time, just moving the ship. Yeah, that's what the other thing it does too, is that resetting or changing the max physics or whatever also makes the game run slower as well. That's the other thing I think I should mention. It makes it run at a little bit of a slower speed. I'm not 100% certain on what speed it actually is running at, but that's one of the other kind of drawbacks of using it, I guess. It slows the game down a little bit. I think it slows it down in order to improve frame rate and allow all the calculations to be done. So that's I think what it was. I kind of botched it up probably on my description before, so I think I should just mention that right now so nobody messages me and's like, hey, you done that wrong. Rah, rah, rah. But I don't get too many of those messages. I mean, I do, but at the same time, I don't. Not that I'm asking for them, because generally, every time I get a message like that, I'm always like, come on, really? But, generally, they're always kind of somewhat informative, generally always kind of a good thing. I enjoy messages like that, because you actually got to think about what you are saying, instead of just rambling off sometimes, which I happen to be very good at. Let's see, we're getting pretty freaking close to these satellite dishes. All I need is a space station. All I need is a space station to jump around a couple times in order for me to get bumped by it or something, or for me to bump into it, which I'm probably going to bump into it anyways. I mean, what's a EVA or whatever you want to call it without bumping into a space station? I mean, they did that with Mir, so I mean, I could do that with the Kerbal Space Station and just start bumping into stuff. It looks like we're gonna hit this little antenna here. I don't know if the antenna actually has physics loaded into it or if you can just clip through it. But I think everything should be alright, hopefully. I could just bump this up a little bit, which I think I'm going to do anyways, because I don't like how unbelievably close I am to this thing. It's just a little too close for my liking. Now just slow it down. We'll get this thing docked up. But, overall, I'm glad that I could get some RCS on this. I really don't know how much I'm going to add on to this station. This really might end up being somewhere near the last piece, and I keep saying that, but what I really mean by that is just that there really isn't a lot more to add on to this thing as it is, but it just really sucks that the amount of... Wow, that piece is floating really close. But it's not coming at us, but I can see it. I don't know. I'm not okay with that. So let's get this thing... I got distracted. I'm sorry. Let's get this thing docked up. I just don't want to end up overwhelming this piece. I keep on saying, oh, yeah, well, this is going to be my last piece. This is going to be my last piece. And this one is. And it's just... I don't want to end up really just making something that's unbearable to even load or look at or anything. And these pieces were planned. I mean, I did say that they were unplanned, but it's more of I waited until the last minute to launch these because I didn't consider this to be an important payload in any kind of way. Whereas all these other parts, these head modules, the docking bay, the escape pods weren't really that important to me. I didn't really care that much, but you know, adding all this other stuff was more important to me because I wanted the station just to look amazing compared to my last one, which if you guys think it looks pretty awesome, let me know. It's up to you. But yeah, this thing, you can tell it's not lined up with the sun in any kind of way. It used to be. So we're docked up. Amazing. And I'm going to go here. And we're going to... Alright, I should really check what keys I'm pushing before I end up pushing them. We're going to transfer out the fuel here. And yeah, that was about it for this entire mission. There are some RCS problems I have to look at because some of these things need or require RCS, and I don't know which ones do and which ones don't. I think it's these little tanks out here, and I don't want to bore you with that in any kind of way. I did, though, however, I forgot to mention, I ended up disabling basically all of the the reaction wheels on this thing. I did shut down a lot of them, and I needed to. Basically, you know, I have a reaction wheel. This, you know, every command module you will see on this thing, which there isn't many, but, you know, most of them are these cupola modules. There's 3 separate cupola modules on here. All of those had reaction wheels on. I had these little guys here. All of those had cupola modules, cupola modules. They had reaction wheels going on inside them, and it was just a big cluster of cupola modules. I'm stuck on cupola modules right now. No, it was just a cluster of these things all firing at once. Not to mention every single one of these had one in it. So I went and shut all of those off, completely shut them down. So I mean, I was hoping, because it was getting a little bit shaky. It wasn't like wobbly like how it used to be. It was just kind of rocking back and forth really slowly, and you can still tell it is a little bit right now. So overall, the station, I think, just looks amazing. And, you know, I don't know if you guys can agree or disagree or agree to disagree. The one thing I wanted to do, but I never did, was realign all of these so the doors are all on the top here. I might end up doing that off camera, but yeah, this thing is just this is just massive right now. I can't believe on how far I've actually gotten with this. So we'll just take a look here because I want to make sure that you guys know. I mean, it says right now 777. That isn't exactly what the part list is because this thing will be gone, so you can minus out all of this, and it will be somewhere a little bit. I think it's going to be somewhere around 200 or 190 tons after this, 195 tons, somewhere almost to 200 tons. Really heavy, really big. That's all I gotta say. So anyways, guys, if you like what you see here, subscribe. There's always more to come. To all you new people, welcome, and yeah, I will see you next time.